Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining this very interesting topic of unleashing the farming potential of smallholder farmers. It's a really exciting topic, and with us to discuss it, we have eminent speakers who are professionals in their field with a wealth of experience and knowledge. So let me introduce our panelists. I start with Aruna Rathukonda. Aruna is the marketing director of Corteva AgriScience for South Asia. She is responsible for leading the marketing team and developing long and mid-term strategies for Corteva's business in South Asia. In addition to the business teams, Aruna is also responsible for shared value initiatives, delivering on Corteva's sustainability goals in South Asia. Aruna has over 16 years of experience working in the smallholder geographies across several countries in Asia. After starting her career as a scientist with the International Crop Research Institute for Semi-Arid Tropics, she was with Advanta and Monsanto in various strategy, marketing, and business roles across Asia. Welcome, Aruna. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Priya.
And let me introduce Jyoti. Welcome, Jyoti. Jyoti Dar is the gender specialist in the India Finance Corporation's Agribusiness Advisory Team, South Asia. She is responsible for leading gender need assessments of women smallholder farmers and women laborers and developing gender-sensitive capacity building initiatives and business strategies for IFC's agribusiness clients in South Asia. She is also part of IFC's Global Agribusiness Advisory Gender Team. Jyoti is a sociologist by training who has worked as an independent consultant on issues of gender protection of vulnerable populations in the urban peripheries of Delhi and in the conflict and natural disaster-prone regions of Jammu and Kashmir. She has worked with UNICEF and ActionAid on research projects analyzing the phenomenon of adverse sex ratios in India. Thanks for joining us today, Jyoti.
Thank you so much for having me.
Happy to welcome today Kalyani Singh. Kalyani is a young smallholder tomato farmer based in Jharkhand. Following in her father's footsteps, Kalyani dreamt of farming on their family farm and introducing new farming techniques. She pursued a formal education in agriculture and allied sciences and graduated in 2018 with a BSc degree from Ramakrishna Mission, Vivekanand University in Ranchi. After her studies, she worked for a brief period in a private organization to earn money to develop her integrated farm. However, she faced difficulties due to unsuccessful partnerships in farmland and the challenge of wild animals. Undeterred, she started farming on her own. Today, she is also the proud owner of a Better Life Farming Center in Ranchi. Welcome again.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you for the honor of joining us. Happy to introduce Garima. Garima Kumari is a development professional with a vast experience working with the tribal communities in central India, mainly Jharkhand. She is working with Sini Tata Trust and holds the responsibility of Jharkhand State Livelihood Anchor. The core expertise of her work is on sustainable livelihood, large-scale design and implementation, FPO promotion and strengthening rural enterprise. She is working with various women-led FPCs and federations on the value chain of different agro-based livelihood prototypes in Jharkhand. She has worked as one of the core team members designing and grounding the Tata Trust Mission 2020 Lakhpati Kisan work. Happy to have you with us, Garima.
Thank you, Priya.
And finally, we have Kusum Balsara. Hi, Kusum. Good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Kusum is the General Manager, Mahila Arthik Vikas Mahmandal, also known as MAVAN. MAVAN is Maharashtra State Government's Women Development Corporation, semi-governmental nodal agency to implement women empowerment programs through women self-help groups across 34 districts in the state. It implements government livelihood programs and has been key implementing IFAN World Bank project. Ms. Balsara has been associated with MAVAN since 1990 and has been instrumental in driving the microfinance initiative for women self-help groups, including the partnerships with various public and private sectors. Last but not least, happy to introduce Doraiswamy Narayan, better known as Dee to his colleagues. Dee is the Senior Buyer Representative of Asia, Managing Director and CEO of Biocrop Science Limited. Dee is also the sponsor of the Smallholder Initiative, which aims to provide holistic and innovative solutions for smallholder farmers in developing economies to enable them to grow their farms into sustainable businesses. His work experience spans over 30 years in the agri industry, having previously worked for ITC Limited in India, part of its agribusiness startup team. Dee joined Monsanto in 1998 as Chief Financial Officer for the India region, and went on to hold several national, global, and international roles, including serving CFO for Monsanto's international business and CEO for the India region. As a business leader, Dee is a strong supporter of diversity and enjoys mentoring choice. Welcome, Dee. So, thank you everyone for joining.
Should we go on mute except because there seems to be some noise, except for the speaker? Should we all go on mute if that makes sense?
I think that will make a lot of sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. That's better. All right. So having celebrated India's 74th Independence Day over the weekend, it is an opportune occasion to talk about the dream of socio-economic empowerment of women who are living in India's rural heartland. The one whose day starts before sunrise and continues well after sunset. These are the women farmers of India, whose voices often go unheard due to their gender, and who struggle to establish their identity at grassroots level due to patriarchal traditions and gender socialization. In rural India, the percentage of women who depend on agriculture for their livelihood is as high as 84%. Women comprise 1/3 of the agriculture labor force and close to 48% of self-employed farmers. As farmers, laborers, and entrepreneurs, women play an important role in the agri sector and developing of rural economies. With increasing involvement in land and water management, women provide critical support to the health of rain-fed farms and livestock in areas where soil is unproductive, rains are insufficient, and men have migrated in search of work, leaving women behind to earn additional incomes through agriculture and allied activities. Being largely unpaid in nature, these efforts of women are dampened as they are not recognized as primary producers. Women continue to face constraints in accessing land, credit, technology, agri-inputs, and market opportunities as compared to their male counterparts. With the feminization of the agri sector and women being predominant at all levels of the agri-food chain, it's imperative to have an inclusive transformation of agriculture targeted at gender-specific interventions which raise the productivity of small holdings and integrate women as agents of rural transformation. With this, what we have for you is a short video where we've gone into the hinterland of India and got voices from our women farmers. Let's hear what they have to say. Can we have the video, please?
मैं मीरा सिंह ग्राम बेड़ना की रहने वाली हूँ, जो मूल रूप से हजारीबाग जिला में पड़ता है। बेड़ना चतरा और हजारीबाग का बॉर्डर पर है। मैं वहाँ का मूल निवासी हूँ और महिला मंडल संस्था का सचिव भी हूँ। मैं पिछले 30 साल से महिलाओं के साथ काम कर रही हूँ और पिछले 20 साल से सघन रूप से महिलाओं को साथ लेकर अपना भी खेती बाड़ी करती हूँ और उनके साथ उनका खेती में भी देखरेख करती हूँ। टमाटर का खेती हमारे इलाके में अच्छा होता है, मैं भी करती हूँ और मेरे साथ जुड़ी हुई महिलाएं भी करती हैं, इसलिए कि उनको भी अपना पॉकेट खर्च के लिए कुछ पैसा चाहिए तो थोड़ा टमाटर उपजा लेती हैं, बेच लेती हैं, ताकि उनका अपना हाथ खर्च निकल आता है। अभी हम लोग जिस परिस्थिति में हैं, खेती तो हम लोग कर रहे हैं लेकिन जमीन हमारे नाम पर नहीं है, जिस कारण से बैंक भी हम लोग को कर्जा नहीं दे पा रहा है। पूंजी का अभाव है, जो थोड़ा बहुत कमाई होता है खर्च हो जाता है, फिर से नया पूंजी लगाना है खेती करने के लिए। इसके लिए हम लोग खेती का विस्तार नहीं कर पाते हैं। उसमें ज़्यादा पूंजी नहीं लगा पा रहे हैं। जमीन घर के पुरुषों के नाम से है, महिलाओं के नाम से कोई जमीन है नहीं, इसलिए बैंक हम लोग को लोन देना पसंद नहीं करता है। जैसे तैसे कर रहे हैं। फसल में जो बीमारी आता है, कौन कीड़ा है, किस कारण से क्या प्रकोप लग रहा है, क्या बीमारी हो रहा है, उसका रख रखाव कैसे होगा, इसका पूरी जानकारी हम लोग नहीं ले पाते हैं। महिला होने के नाते घर का भी सब काम संभालना पड़ता है, उसके साथ खेती भी करते हैं, तो ज़्यादा टाइम हम लोग प्रशिक्षण में दे नहीं पाते हैं, घर से बाहर निकल नहीं पाते हैं और पूंजी का अभाव है। अगर हम लोग को पूंजी का व्यवस्था कर किया जाए, बैंक हम लोग को पूंजी देना शुरू करे और टेक्निकल प्रशिक्षण हम लोग को मिल जाए, तो अभी जो हम लोग खेती कर रहे हैं शायद उससे बेहतर खेती कर पाएंगे और अपना आमदनी को बढ़ा के अपना घर का स्थिति को ठीक कर पाएंगे।
मैं एक महिला किसान हूँ जो कि उसमें खेती करती हूँ, टमाटर, मटर और करेली। हर समय पर अलग अलग खेती करती हूँ, जिसमें कि खेती तो करते हैं, लेकिन उसमें जैसे कीटनाशक हुआ, उसमें बीच में कौन सा दवा देना पड़ता है, उसका प्रशिक्षण समय पर नहीं मिल पाने के कारण हम समय से हम नहीं दे पाते हैं, उसका नुकसान होता है। और अगर उसका भी प्रशिक्षण दी जाएगी तो और अच्छा होगी। और जैसे हम फसल तो उपजाते हैं जरूर, लेकिन उसमें बेचने के लिए हमारे व्यापारी, अगल बगल से व्यापारी लोग बिचौली खड़े होते हैं। अगर हमारे किसान लोग के लिए अगर सही उपलब्ध की जाए, डायरेक्ट मंडी तक सही भाव मिल जाए, तो हमारे किसान के लिए और ही अच्छी हो जाएगी।
मैं पिछले 7 वर्षों से खेती कर रही हूँ, सब्जी और धान की खेती। पहले तो मैं धान की खेती करती थी, लेकिन अभी चाहती हूँ कि सब्जी की भी खेती करूँ मैं, लेकिन सही जानकारी नहीं है, जिसकी वजह से हम खेती में ज़्यादा उपज नहीं कर पाते हैं। हम लोगों को खेत के काम के साथ साथ घर का भी काम करना पड़ता है। हम लोग बहुत मेहनत करते हैं, लेकिन मार्केट लिंक नहीं होने के कारण और सही जानकारी नहीं होने के कारण हम लोगों को मेहताना नहीं मिल पाता है, कम दाम मिलता है। उस वजह से हम लोग कुछ उतना अपना घर का नहीं कर पाते हैं जितना हम लोग को करना चाहिए। सही बीज, सही खाद और सही जानकारी नहीं होने की वजह से हम लोग कुछ नहीं कर पाते हैं ज़्यादा। हम लोग चाहते हैं कि हम लोग के गांव में कोई आए, जानकारी दे, ताकि पैदावार की बढ़ोतरी हो और हम लोग अपना जीवन सुखी कर पाए और हर किसी को हम लोग अच्छा से जानकारी दे पाए। जो हम लोगों को यहाँ जानकारी देने आते हैं, उनके थ्रू से हम लोग और सबों को जानकारी दे पाए।
मैं पिछले 10 वर्षों से धान की खेती कर रही हूँ। हमारी जमीन का माप कम होने के साथ साथ उच्च क्वालिटी की बीज, कीटनाशक इत्यादि की उपलब्धता समय पर नहीं हो पाती है, जिसके कारण खेती काफी कम होती है। अतः हम मेहनत करने के बावजूद भी खेती का पूरा लाभ नहीं ले पाते हैं। जब से मैं खेती कर रही हूँ, मुझे हर वक्त एक नई सीखने को मिलती है। फसल को हम अपने नन्हे शिशु की तरह पालते हैं, अच्छे से देखभाल करते हैं तथा धान की खेती एवं रोपाई के वक्त हमें हर साल एक नया आनंद सा एहसास होता है। हमें उचित समय पर खेती संबंधित जानकारी एवं सही दाम पर बिक्री का सहयोग मिलने पर हम जैसे छोटे किसान भी घर की आर्थिक व्यवस्था को और मजबूत कर सकते हैं और सुदृढ़ कर सकते हैं। धन्यवाद।
Okay, that was a very interesting video. Great to hear the voices from, the women farmers. Having heard the challenges that they face in terms of accessing credit, in terms of getting adequate knowledge and information on agri inputs, and looking at the increasing feminization of the agri sector D, how important is it to focus on the development of women smallholders, and how do you see this impacting the agri sector?
Thank you, Priya. I have some prepared remarks because I don't want to lose my thoughts. First of all, again, good morning to everyone in this team panel and all the folks joining our session today. These are tough times, and trust all of you and your families are staying safe. Priya, like you said, I was reflecting last night. I remembered the 74th Independence Day we celebrated on Saturday. But more importantly, how far we have come as a country, both economically and as a strong country in the global stage. But if you were to look back, how has this been made possible, right? absolutely the core contributor has been the agricultural sector of India. And over this last 7 decades, it's the farmers in India who have provided us food security so that we have continued to invest and progress in our economic growth. But it is here that we need to recognize our unsung, I call heroines, which are millions of women in farming household as key contributors to this success in the numerous roles that they played. And we heard quite a bit of it in the last 5 minutes from the women farmers who were talking, playing numerous roles in either as farmers or helping farms in various farming activities, at the same time raising their families and continuing their household chores. But as we look ahead and look into the future, it's time we integrate them, as you said, Priya, into mainstream farming, recognizing their true potential and collectively with male farmers support the twin goals of sustainably improving farm incomes and rural livelihoods. When you look at farming in India, we always talk about 145 million farmers, smallholder farmers. But I would say we have 145 million women in farming too, if you look at it, every household with the women in the household. And even more, possibly, if you think of a number of them work as farm laborers as well. So as we move to the next stage of transformation, it is time that we build an inclusive approach to empower women in farms to contribute in an equal measure to this transformation. If you look at what's happened in India over the last several months, especially in the COVID times, the government has initiated path-breaking reforms in agriculture to make us globally competitive. As we seek to realize these benefits of these reforms, we have to integrate upliftment of women as a core part of this transformation. This needs to be collectively owned by the society overall and not just the responsibility of the government alone. I've been back in the country over the last 20 months, and what I'm encouraged to see is there are great initiatives that have already been started in this area. And now is the time to connect the dots, have an honest conversation like the one we are having right now to understand the challenges and aggressively move towards scaling this up so that this decade, we not only deliver the transformation of Indian agriculture, but also make it the decade that realizes the true potential of women in agriculture. As a final thought, I can't but remember the strong influence of my mother in my life. Married young without completing school, and how she became an independent thinking and self-taught woman. But what enabled her growth was the strong and unflinching support of my dad. And this is where we need to realize the critical role that men need to play in driving this change and seeing the value of 1 + 1 becomes 3 to improve livelihoods. We have a great panel and look forward to a robust conversation, but more importantly, how do you convert it into action to drive this and make it a reality? Thank you, Priya.
Thank you, Dee. Some very interesting points to see. In each household, we have, women may not be direct farmers, but helping in the whole agri setup.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And the wonderful point to say that how can we make this the decade of recognizing the true potential of women farmers? So, Kusum, you've worked really at the grassroots level, at close quarters with a lot of women, and you have been an integral part of Mavim for several years. Can you tell us from those close quarters, what really are some of the challenges that you have, seen, and really what are some of the steps being taken, the success stories that you've seen for the prosperity of women?
So basically, thank you for inviting us and giving this opportunity to share our ideas on today's topic. When we talk about the challenges for women, since Mavim is working since 45 years into the sector of women development, we always looked at the challenges, and years together we are trying to resolve it, but still two steps we go ahead and 1 step we go back. It is always this is the journey we always going on. So when we talk really critical challenge for women farmers, there are too many, and the challenges are because absence of gender parity. women, whether she is entrepreneur or farmer or anything, she has to face challenges because she is a woman. Decades and decades, she is not offered equal opportunities, and therefore, she has been deprived from the education, exposure, and so on. So basically, what we observe, the access to finance, access to information are the most critical hurdles in the women development in the overall. If we, as all of us, we know from the decades, distribution of work in the society is gender biased. Wherever work is compensated by money, we will find men over there. But if the work is done as a service or not compensated, there we will find women. Women will do all the drudgery, but they will not be a part of decision making. They will not have control over the resources, whether it is agriculture or any other sector. But in agriculture, according to me, that is the main, I think it is the main concern. They are not part of a decision making. But when it comes to the agriculture, almost 90% or 99% of work is done by the women. But their participation in post-harvest spaces is absolutely nil. So the market and money is in hands of the men. It's not in hands of women. So she is a part of only drudgery. She is part of only work. And this is something, if we see the GDP, women's contribution in the GDP, it is 18% of GDP. So when women are constituted almost 50% of the population and being work hard, how come their contribution in GDP is so less? So one has to ask this question very seriously. It means there is something drastically wrong in our economy, drastically wrong in counting their efforts and work in the GDP. With Mavim experience, we have observed the whole the process which done by women, the drudgery is so huge. Whether she is urban or rural, but rural women is in farming, and we see the drudgery is so much into the place, and still we are not counting her efforts into the GDP. That is something we have to really ask for us as a policy. I think this. Would you like me to answer this? How we are really working on it now, or you would like to come back to it?
You can, that would be great.
I didn't get you.
If you can touch upon that, yeah. What are some of the steps that you are taking?
Yes. So basically, when as a Women's Development Corporation, we thought there are so many issues. How to really bring the solutions to these hurdles, how to really work on it, and we try to organize women. We form the SAGs to build organized strength so that they will be heard. Building capacities by providing training and exposure, because they have deprived from the equal opportunities, and therefore they are not got any exposure, they have not got any capacity buildings, and therefore we have emphasized on the building of capacities of women. Working on policy and advocacy to make their engagement more fruitful is one of the priority area always been as a Mavim. As we all work, the 12% land or farm are in name on the name of the women, and they are not considered even farmers, though they are working so hard into the farm, but they are not considered as a farmer because Satbara is not on their name. Even agriculture department, when introduce any schemes, they are not part of it because they are female, because the Satbara is not on their name. For example, the one instant I would say, when they have started the farmer schools, and we found that the whole male farmers are coming there, and the farmer school is going on, and package of practices has been given the demonstration over there, but the male are not working in farms, so women are not knowing about the package of practices. So we wrote to the agriculture department, at least you allow them to be part of the farmers schools, so that whatever impact you envisage through the package of change into the package of practices, you would see. Otherwise, it is something very difficult for you to really see the change which you want to see. Makam like organizations who are really working on the advocacy with us, and it is a global network which is really working very hard for the advocacy on women. I think this is something which I always think the literacy, functional literacy is more important part of it. There are so many schemes, but accessing those schemes becomes very difficult for women because they are not knowing the where are the schemes, how the system operates, and therefore Mavin conducts the functional literacy programs. Bring them to the BDOs, bring them to the Tehsildars, Talatis, what are they doing, what is the system for meant for them, and how to access the schemes is something which have to be literate taught to them. So financial literacy, functional literacy is the core part of our capacity building for the women. We always see that women are, if they understand the things, they do it very, very carefully, very, very sincerely, very seriously. And then you can see the result and impact of the whole processes. Mavim has built a very robust institutions, community institutions, which is absolutely women, by the women, for the, by the people, for the people. It is everywhere. 100% women are the part of these federations. These say we are working with 16 lakhs families, 400 institutions has been built, and these institutions are really working as an aggregator. They are trying to make women as a part of the supply chain. The CMRCs are acting as a financial support. They are forging the bank linkages to women. Our experience is 4,000 crores rupees we have disbursed through the various banks, and almost 99% repayment is there. And it is through the private and public sector banks. The private sector banks contribution is more than the public sector banks. So when the public sector banks comes to Mavim and wants to be a part of it, because they ensure, they know that it is, there is a 100% repayment is ensured with this. So why? Because we are working with women. So this is something, the core competency of women. If once you really make their capacities, they can do the wonders into the whole process. And therefore, we always think that women should be really given that sort of exposure, capacity building, and they should be a part of the whole supply chain. With the Unity Help and IFAD Help, we had started trained some sourcing managers and provided tour to the future group of company. And what happened, we saw that the fair price received by the farmers, the CMRC is done very good job. They are aggregating the whole processes. And here, as I was saying in the challenges, there was a hurdles because they are not in the space of post-harvest. So through the CMRCs, we are really in their engagement. We are trying to make their engagement very fruitful into the post-harvest space. I feel this is the gender parity is not only the women's development perspective, but it's high time to bring them as an important resource to contribute in the country's economy GDP. So unlocking potentials of women, whether it is farming or entrepreneurial area, are timely. It is a timely need of country's economic development, and we as a country cannot afford to lock the potential of half a population of the country. And therefore our efforts are very, very meaningful, essential, and this is something we could see the drastic changes into the field. Women are acting as a sourcing manager. Yeah, I think time must be up. But yeah.
Thank you, Kusum. I think you've really made some very interesting points to say that when 50% of the population is women, why is the contribution only 18% of GDP? Very interesting to know the kind of work that you're doing towards capacity building. Let's move on to Garima. Yeah, Garima, you've been working with Tata Trust for a lot of time. Tata is doing a lot of good work on the ground. So in your opinion, what has been your experience on the role that corporates are playing in the agricultural domain?
Yeah. Thank you. Good morning to all. I will share my experience working in the Tata Trust and working with the women and the farmer. So, Lakpati Kisan program is one of the lead programs of the Tata Trust, in which I am working in Jharkhand. And in this program, the main goal is to increase the income of the farmer more than a lakh. Or I am working mostly through the women farmers and mostly the SAG at the SAG level, self-help group, TG, producer groups, BO, and FPC, Farmer Producer Company, and the Federation. So as we know that the major contribution of the workforce in the agriculture mostly from the women farmer. They work as a producer, as a distributor, as a processor, store making, as a they store. They also do the marketing also. But to make them so economical and social viable, our role is to engage the smallholder women farmer is more professional way, and we are linking linking this farmer with our APCs, farmer producer companies, and our these farmer producer company majorly we work with the three segments in the entire circle of the agriculture: pre-production, production, and the post-production part. In the pre-production part, the women are majorly involved in the micro planning, and now they are coming. Women are coming and making decisions, taking decision that. Whatever the crop of choice they want to do and what they high value agriculture they want to do, they are coming forward. In micro planning, women, our board of director, FPC board of director, they do micro planning with the SAG farmers. Also, the credit linkages is through the SAG and formal institution. Our FPC members directly helping them to link with the financial institutions like bank. Other than this, the crowdfunding we have also generated like Rangde. From Rangde, the financial linkages have been done, and also nowadays the women are coming in the input procurement and facility and giving the facility at the household level as well as at the village level, like procurement of seed, fertilizer, pesticide, and women are coming forward to linking with the companies as well as with the local vendors also. They are coming forward and doing the negotiation as well. So on the as we see on the production side, we can see that the women are getting exposed in the precision farming like drip and mulching. This kind of things are nowadays women are taking up because they are getting exposed, and with the program we are giving them a facility to go and see the other state and see the how the farmers are doing the drip and mulch cultivation in better way. And also we capacitate them. We are giving capacity building trainings also so that they can capacitate on the package of practices, accounts training, business building training. All this training they are getting. And on the post-harvesting side, we have seen that our experience in the Jharkhand, the women are dealing with the market, getting exposed in the market, dealing negotiation with the market. They do call for phone calls to the different vendor and they negotiate the rate of the product like tomato, watermelon, and they finalize the vendor also and they do marketing. So they are getting exposed in the Lakpati Kisan program I have seen in Jharkhand. The key learning I have seen that the smallholder women farmer in agriculture mostly work at the consumption level. Generally, they're not involved in the commercial scale. So, but when they are coming together as a group farming, means when SAG come together and they are doing the group farming, they have got the taking the risk and they got the confidence to do the work together. And then this then the consumption level farming becomes the commercial farming, and this commercial farming lead to the marketing at the doorstep, marketing at the farm gate, and they sell the product and they get the money and they put money in the SAG level. So the primary access of that money is at the women. So this is the main thing I have found in this whole Lakpati Kisan program, that they directly access of money and they more control on the money of the women. So all these are the experience. Some challenges also we are facing. One challenge is I have seen that from the in the initial, when the project started, when they start working with the women, women are initially in the patriarchal society. Women are also have hunch whether they want to, whether they can come forward, and also the male person are also not initially very adaptable to talk with the women. Women, when they go and do the microfinance, they may not feeling very comfortable also. But during the as the project goes 2 to 3 years, later on the whole women as well as the whole system get equipped with the things and the system gets started. Second point is that when women are coming forward, they have work at the household level also. That is not decreasing. That is at the same level. So they are doing both work, external level work as well as the household work also. So this is the struggle women are facing nowadays in the
Thank you, Garima. I think your point about women not getting into commercial activities, and really when they come together as a group, that's when they get the courage and confidence to take that forward.
Courage and confidence to take it forward. Yeah.
So great. Let's
so also, I just want one thing that we are also doing the BLF Center, Better Life Center farming in Jharkhand, and that is through the FPC, woman-led FPC. Farmer Producer Company is doing that Better Life Farming.
Sure.
Yeah.
Thanks, Garima. Let's move on to Jyoti. Jyoti, you really have a wider lens. You work not only in South Asia, but you're also on the global advisory team. So really, what are your views in terms of what are some of the best practices that maybe we can bring in from what you've seen in, beyond India to close this, to make a more inclusive ecosystem?
Thank you so much. Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Yeah, thank you so much for this opportunity, and it's great hearing everybody on the panel. To speak, I think Kusum and Garima have kind of reduced my task. They have covered a lot of ground, and my experiences both, and I worked in Africa as part of the global team a lot, and my experiences there have been very similar as in India, except that what I find there is that the realities that we started to see in India, or I started to see as my experiences in India as part of the IFC India team, South Asia team, was something that I started to see much earlier in Africa, and that I think was also because of the crisis in these communities is far greater than maybe the recognition of crisis in our communities. The crisis there, but we take a bit longer to recognize it. In that sense, so there were a couple of realities that I experienced very quickly in Africa, and which I did then also was seeing much more in India and South Asia. One was female-headed households. So the increase in female-headed households is dramatic. In Africa, you can see it widespread. They recognize it. The other thing that they have sort of recognized is the fact that when there's equality in land ownership, which is what they have at least in Ethiopia, they have this the equality in land ownership. So land is in the name of both men and women. So even if there is a situation where the man leaves the woman, or let's say the woman needs to go to the bank or assert her access credit, it's much easier for her to do that, and she's a bit more secure in that sense. But having said that, the disparities remain because again, overriding patriarchy is kind of rules the rights of women there too. Work burdens, which are heavy, because again, water scarcity is so much that time is consumed a lot in fetching water, for example. But apart from that, the other thing that which I realized in my experience in Africa was that they are much more forthcoming with reasons why the very important aspect that we are discussing today, which is decision making. How decision making then is really the crux, which is just going to transform the lives of women. And they speak very openly about why decision making gets impacted, even though we have, they have like facilities for capacity building, they have equality in land ownership, etc. And they said that one of the reasons was domestic violence. And this is something that we are not recognizing in India openly. We talk about we talk about various, disparities, etc. But, this is something that I came face to face with very, very openly in Africa. And I realized, also come to realize how important it is that we look at intra-household dynamics more carefully when we talk about transformation. So that in crux is my, let's say, in a summary, is my experience in Africa. Having said that, also when you talk about inclusion and how we can, make this journey or this transformation accelerated in some ways, we heard from our panelists about, that we need to recognize the potential of women. I think women are there in your face, that potential is there. What we need to do is unleash this potential. The first point is a recognition of the woman as a farmer at the community level, at the household level, at the business level. I mean, if they're part of huge supply chains of certain businesses, then that needs to be recognized by all the stakeholders. I would say the second step would then be that, to unleash this potential through capacity building, as a panelist who have spoken before me have talked about. Again, when you talk about capacity building, it's part of the inclusion that we kind of are planning for. But this inclusion has to also come to terms with the realities that we are looking at, and these realities are the fact that mobility is a problem, the fact that when we look at cascading of messages to, let's say, a household through a woman or a man, it's important that we bring together a couple for capacity building initiatives, not just the woman or not just the man. And we must understand that if capacity building is, technical, on ag tech, on ICT, on whatever initiative we're trying to roll out, the capacity building has to first begin with a gender awareness. You need to understand, the audience needs to understand what it means to do or be, what is gender, what is the whole notion. So that leads to that, the cascading of the message becomes better. The tailor making of the training material is more inclusive. And therefore, women and men both kind of connect with what they are learning at the level of the capacity building initiative, and very importantly, the trainers and the staff of the businesses who are initiating these capacity building activities must be. There must be women. For example, we must have a target that within a certain community of farmers who is being put forth for coming forth for capacity building, there should be a target, 30%, 25%, 40%, and that target needs to be met. There should be a target on recruitment of extension officers that are women. There should be a target for field officers. There should be a target for women trainers. So it's easier that much more for women to engage. And not only that, I mean, even male trainers have told me that it's much easier for them to pass the message on to women farmers when they are working or going into a capacity building initiative with another woman trainer. So there are certain things that they are not able to elicit from the women as to what their challenges are, what their problems are. So that's the third thing that I would like to say in this journey of inclusion that we're looking at. And one step before the capacity building is a need assessment. Is what we'd like to do is a need assessment, understand what the needs of the population we're targeting, because we tend to go there thinking these are the needs, but actually they may be completely different. So we need to understand the needs first of the population before rolling out any initiative. The last thing then I would say is that we need to make them decision makers, and the capacity building then leads to them becoming decision makers, and that then transforms them. It kind of transforms their life in the end. So the inclusion is really this whole journey, and this is what we are trying to do at IFC, and this is what our goal is, to increase the presence, increase the voice, and increase the leadership of women. And that's the other thing that I would like to say, is that we need to see them more as leaders, as lead farmers, as leaders in associations, as members of associations, and members of these communities.
Thank you,
Priya.
Yes, Dee.
A great conversation. I'm looking at time. If everybody is okay, should be extended by 15 minutes, because this is an outstanding conversation. And we haven't even gone into the external questions, right? If the whole panel is okay, just overshooting by 15 minutes, I really appreciate it because we don't want to lose the momentum. Over to you.
Thank you, Jyoti. Those were really beautifully elicited, the entire journey, right from, recognition to capacity building to including women at all levels, including training, field extension, and finally leading to decision making. Thanks, Jyoti. So, Kalyani, coming to you.
Yes, ma'am.
You have been involved in Better Life Center from a very young age. Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit about what has been आपका experience क्या है working with Better Life Farming, and also how has what you have done had an impact on other women?
Okay. Basically, my interest on agri entrepreneur was from starting time. कॉलेज में जब एडमिशन लिया, एग्रीकल्चर से स्टडी कर रहे थे, तब से हमको एंटरप्रेन्योर बनने का इच्छा था मेरे अंदर. फिर उसमें जैसे कॉलेज में स्पेशल क्लास भी होता था एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप के ऊपर कि एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप क्या है, कैसा है, तो बहुत अच्छा लगता था, इंटरेस्टिंग लगता था क्लास. फिर जैसे कि मेरा जो एंटरप्रेन्योर बनने का फर्स्ट स्टेप ये था कि हम एक अपना इंटीग्रेटेड फार्म बनाना चाहते थे, जो कि एक पार्टनरशिप इश्यू के चलते वो सक्सेस नहीं हो पाया, हम नहीं कर पाए वो पूरा. फिर कुछ दिन बाद हमको पीओ कोमल कुमारी जो है वो बायर की झारखंड टीम से है, वो उन्होंने मुझे बीएलएफ का प्लान शेयर किया. तो वो सुन के मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगा कि हम जिस रास्ते पे जाना चाहते थे वो प्लान मुझे शेयर कर रहा है. तो जल्दी से मैं चाहती थी कि हम बीएलएफ ओपन करना चाहते थे. फिर उसी दौरान मुझे सौरभ से इंटरेक्शन हुआ और मैं पॉजिटिव हो गई बीएलएफ को लेके कि अच्छा प्लान है, बहुत अच्छा है, अपॉर्चुनिटीज है मेरे लिए कि हमको बीएलएफ ओपन करना चाहिए. फिर फाइनली फरवरी 2020 को मैंने बीएलएफ ओपन किया. जैसे बीएलएफ ओपन हो गया, फर्स्ट डे मैं सेंटर पे विजिट किया, तो मेरे लिए बहुत चैलेंजिंग था कि करना क्या है, मतलब समझ में नहीं आ रहा था कुछ भी. बायर का प्रोडक्ट का नॉलेज नहीं था, मार्केट नॉलेज कुछ भी नहीं था, फिर जो सेलिंग एक्सपीरियंस वो भी नहीं था मेरे साथ. तो मैं बहुत कंफ्यूज थी कि आखिर बीएलएफ रन कैसे करेगा. फिर जो बायर टीम है, बाकी जैसे कोमल, सौरभ सर, सारे ने सपोर्ट किया, तो बहुत सारा नॉलेज गेन हुआ कि ऐसे करना है, ऐसे करना. फिर थोड़ा सा पॉजिटिविटी आना माइंड में. फिर फाइनली अभी तो बीएलएफ बहुत अच्छा रन हो रहा है, मतलब अकॉर्डिंग टू माय, मतलब मेरे हिसाब से. फिर जैसे कि जब हम जैसे एक होता है ना कि जब हम फार्मर आते हैं मेरे फील्ड में सेंटर पे विजिट करने, तो हमको बहुत प्राउड फील होता है कि जैसे एक ही सेंटर के नीचे, एक ही सेंटर में उनको सारा जो फार्मिंग का जितना भी चाहिए, इक्विपमेंट जो भी चाहिए, प्रोडक्ट चाहिए, वो सारा चीज मैं उनको अवेलेबल करा देती हूँ. तो वो भी एक होता है ना, अच्छे से खुश हो जाते हैं कि आखिर एक ही शॉप से मुझे सारा चीज अवेलेबल हो गया. तो मुझे भी वो अच्छा लगता है कि हाँ ठीक है, मैंने एक ऐसा प्रोजेक्ट में हूँ जिसमें हम फार्मर को हैप्पी प्रोवाइड कर रहे हैं, वो लोग मेरे सेंटर में आके हैप्पी फील कर रहे हैं. फिर स्टार्टिंग में जैसे मैंने इंटीग्रेटेड फार्म बनाने का कोशिश किया था जो मेरा जॉब पीरियड में, तो मेरे लिए सक्सेस नहीं हुआ था. तो फैमिली का थोड़ा सपोर्ट में प्रॉब्लम हुआ था स्टार्टिंग में कि पता नहीं सक्सेस कर पाएगी कि नहीं एग्री एंटरप्रेन्योर में. फिर धीरे धीरे जब टाइम पास हुआ तो बेसिकली अभी बहुत मतलब अभी फैमिली का सपोर्ट बहुत अच्छा हो गया कि नहीं ठीक है, वो अच्छे ट्रैक में है, वो अच्छा कर रही है और आगे अच्छा करेगी. वो अभी पॉजिटिविटी बहुत अच्छा है फैमिली को लेकर. फिर अकॉर्डिंग टू माय, मतलब मेरे हिसाब से हमको लगता है कि जो बीएलएफ सेंटर ओपन हुआ है उसमें वुमेन्स का इनिशिएटिव हम कैसे किए, तो वो बेसिकली ऐसा हो सकता है कि जैसे जितने भी बीएलएफ सेंटर है वो बेसिकली रूरल एरियाज में है. तो पहले जो वुमेन फार्मर थी वो लोग को दूर माइग्रेट कर, मतलब दूर जाना पड़ता था जितने भी एग्रीकल्चर का प्रोडक्ट लेने के लिए, उन लोग को अर्बन एरिया में मूव करना पड़ता है. तो वो सारा जो टाइम और एनर्जी जो वेस्ट होता था उन लोग का उतना दूर जाके रहने में, वो एक बीएलएफ सेंटर ओपन हुआ है तो उन लोग के लिए वो बहुत ईजी हो रहा है कि वो लोग सेंटर में वहाँ पे आके इजीली ले रही है. और बेसिकली लोगों का जो टाइम और एनर्जी जो वेस्ट होता था वो अगर, क्योंकि उन लोगों को घर के साथ भी, मतलब खेत के साथ घर में भी काम करना होता है, बहुत सारी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी होती है जो कि वुमेन के होती है. तो टाइम और एनर्जी सेविंग के चलते वो लोग प्रॉपर टाइम अपने घर में भी दे रहे हैं और खेत में भी दे पाते हैं, जो कि उन लोगों के लिए बहुत बेनिफिशियल है. फिर आती है सेकेंडली, मैं ऑब्जर्व किया ये चीज कि हम लोग का जो बीएलएफ है वो 3 टायर में काम करती है. तो बेसिकली मी एज ए एग्री एंटरप्रेन्योर, फिर वुमेन फार्मर और दे बेसिकली लास्ट द वुमेन एम्प्लॉय. तो तो वो तीनों जो टायर में काम कर रहे हैं, तो इससे क्या हो ना, हमारे ऊपर इको फ्रेंडली नेचर बिहेव हो रहा है कि हम लोग कोई भी फार्मर इजीली हम लोग से कोई भी इंटरेक्शन शेयर कर सकता है, कुछ भी प्रॉब्लम, क्योंकि एज ए वुमेन वी आर अंडरस्टैंडिंग द होल इश्यूज ऑफ हाउस होल्ड एक्टिविटीज एंड अदर फील्ड का भी जो भी एक्टिविटीज है, और तो वो इजीली फ्रैंकेबल हम लोग से शेयर करती है वुमेन फार्मर। और जैसे कभी अगर बाय एग्जांपल अगर कोई अच्छा प्लॉट है, अगर फार्मर को विजिट करना है, तो जो हमारी वुमेन एम्प्लॉय है या फिर एग्री एंटरप्रेन्योर हम है, तो वो भी स्कूटी में ट्रेवल करके उसको विजिट करा सकते हैं, कोई इश्यू नहीं है उसमें कि लेके जाना या नहीं ले जाना, तो वो इजीली हम उसको ट्रेवल करके ले जा रहे हैं, फार्म में विजिट करा रहे हैं, तो वो उनके लिए बहुत अच्छा हो जाता है। और एक एग्जाम्पल बहुत जल्दी हम लोग शो कर पाते हैं कि वुमेन फार्मर को कि आप भी कर सकते हैं ये चीज, तो यू कैन, आप ट्राई कर सकते हो। फिर एज द BLF प्लान हम शेयर कर रहे हैं, BLF में काम कर रहे हैं अभी, जैसे हम फील्ड में विजिट करते हैं, मीटिंग्स वगैरह अरेंज होता है, SHG मीटिंग भी जाते हैं, तो उसमें पार्टिसिपेशन वुमेन का, SHG मीटिंग में तो वुमेन ही बैठती है, वो लोग अपना जो करती हैं वो करती हैं, लेकिन हम लोग जब स्टार्टिंग में फील्ड में विजिट किए थे, तो सारा प्रॉब्लम जितने भी है फील्ड में या जो भी है वो मेल फार्म हम लोग शेयर करते थे कि ये हो रहा है, वेजिटेबल्स में ये कीड़ा लग रहे हैं, ये प्रोडक्ट मतलब ये चाहिए हमको, सारे मेल मेंबर्स बोलते थे। फिर धीरे धीरे जब हम लोग और विजिट करने लगे वहां पे, तो फीमेल मेंबर भी हम लोग को देख के आने लगी कि आखिर क्या बताने आई है, तो इन लोग आ सकती है तो हम अपने विलेज में क्यों नहीं मूव कर सकते हैं, तो वो लोग भी धीरे धीरे आके हम लोग से इंटरेक्शन करने लगी कि क्या बताने आई है। फिर उन लोग को लगा कि अच्छा खेती बाड़ी का बात है, तो फिर वो लोग और अट्रैक्ट होने लगे कि एग्रीकल्चर का बात है तो हम लोग को भी जानना चाहिए, क्योंकि खेत में तो हम लोग भी काम करते हैं। तो फिर वो लोग काम करने के लिए आई, मतलब सुनने के लिए आती थी हम लोग का बात। फिर अभी क्या होता है, लास्ट में हम लोग जब भी जाते हैं तो वो लोग आते हैं कि हाँ मैडम बैठिए, पानी वानी पीजिएगा, मतलब बहुत अच्छा जो वेलकम होता है ना वो अच्छे से करती हैं। और फिर अपना जितना भी छोटा से छोटा इशू, अगर वो किचन गार्डन भी है तो वो उसका भी प्रॉब्लम हम लोग से शेयर करती है कि आखिर ये कीड़ा क्यों लगा, मतलब जस्ट नॉलेजेबल के लिए, और अपने लैंग्वेज में ही वो शेयर करती है, जो कि हमें बहुत हैप्पी फील होता है कि कितना इजीली वो लोग फ्रैंकेबल है हम लोग के साथ। तो बाय द वे ऑल सिनेरियो में देखा जाए तो हमको BLF में काम करके हम बहुत प्राउड फील होते हैं कि हम स्मॉल होल्डर फार्मर्स को हम मतलब हैप्पी कर रहे हैं कि ठीक है, वो लोग का जो भी प्रॉब्लम है और वो एक तरह से मनी अर्न कर रही है विथ मेरा एफर्ट, लिटिल एफर्ट, बट हम उनको हेल्प कर रहे हैं और स्मॉल होल्डर फार्मर्स को आगे बढ़ा रहे हैं। थैंक यू।
Thank you, Kalyani. You're an inspiration for us as well as a lot of women in your area. Thank you. So, Aruna, last but not least, you have worked across Asia in many geographies. You've seen, women playing different roles in agriculture. So, what really is, your view in terms of the focus that we could get from the agri industry, and what really is the industry doing towards uplifting women and increasing the productivity?
It has been a pleasure last 50 minutes listening to all my other co-panelists. I mean, the diversity of thought and also what they bring onto the table has been amazing. I just wanted to start the conversation with Corteva launching the sustainability goals. It was the first year anniversary of Corteva that we launched 14 sustainability goals. And if I look at all the sustainability goals, what all the panelists have been sharing are neatly embedded in the goals, right? So we have in it for farmers, in it for land, in it for communities, and in it for our operations. And the underlying fact of all these goals and the ambition is to enrich the lives of almost 500 million smallholder farmers, out of which 40% are women smallholder farmers. So basically, Corteva went out there and then put it out that we are interested in enrich the lives of smallholders, and in particular, the smallholder women farmers. Okay, so in that line of thinking, one of the very innovative ideas, which of course Corteva came up with, and then if that helps the industry and also other panelists, and then we can also discuss, how we can collaborate in a very company agnostic way, or a product agnostic way in terms of coming together. So Corteva launched about a couple of years back a program called Women Pravakta I think if women farmers are working in the areas of Bihar, Jharkhand, the women Pravakta farmers, so basically including the trainer, the trainees, and all the participants are all women. So this is a information sharing platform. It's a technology sharing platform. And also one of the components that we introduced is a financial and the functional literacy, to Kusum's point in terms of how can we have the functional and the financial literacy. And one other point that we wanted to introduce this year, starting from 2020-2021 cropping season, is to have the market linkages, or how can women farmers be able to little bit get to some of the economics of what they're doing, right? So I'm producing this, I'm producing a particular hybrid, I'm growing it, I'm using a particular fertilizer, I'm using a particular insecticide or a fungicide, but what is my ROI? And which is the market where I'm. So once we get to the profitability angle and then make women farmers literate around the profitability, I think that would be a great ground in which we can establish all these interlinkages and have it going. Now, Priya, if you ask me particularly, how can an industry collaboratively work together? Some of the points which have been made about agri-entrepreneurship, right? So agri-entrepreneurship, when we say it cannot be a company-specific driven. It cannot be driven just by a Corteva or a Bayer. When you want to create, or when you want to really help a women agri-entrepreneur, I think industry just needs to collaborate enough. I can't emphasize more on in terms of collaboration, product agnostic collaboration, where we are not sharing information about a particular product or a particular hybrid, but we are just sharing information about integrated pest management, integrated crop management, market linkages, which are completely agnostic, and then how can we raise or increase the incomes and profitabilities. There are a number of examples actually, Priya and team, in terms of how through a Grow Her program, and I was just talking to Dee about it, which was launched in Southeast Asia just about a couple of days back. We are trying to bring industry onto the platform and for the benefit of women farmers in Southeast Asia. I look forward to have something like that established also from an India context, where we can bring in all the multinationals and also some of the Indian companies together to give a holistic view of what that crop solution can be. Thanks, Priya.
Thank you, Aruna. Really some wonderful examples of the work that you're doing in Corteva. And now, in the interest of time, I'd like to open this up for questions, to our audience. And we have a whole bunch of questions already that have come, so I'm just going to shoot, So the first question really, and I think Aruna, you've answered it in part, so maybe Dee, you can add on. 2 critical areas and efforts where we are working upon towards women in sustainable agricultural farming, from industry to critical.
Yeah, so I think Aruna nicely summed it up, right? Because at the end of the day, for this to work, you need to focus on 2 things, whether it is men in farming or women in farming, sustainable farm income. And then the second element is sustainable agriculture, especially with challenges of water that we all are familiar about. And the third and the more important piece is safe use of pesticides, safe use of chemicals, because all these come back together as a critical ecosystem. So when you look at this holistically, no one company can go out and make all this happen. It definitely, Aruna, you're right, it needs to be a collaboration. It needs to be a collaboration, whether it's starting at capacity building, which is the starting point, and including, I think, some of the points I think, Jyoti, you talked about, right? It is also empowering women to be out there as key decision makers. Some of the examples of Africa is so relevant today, even in India, because at the end of the day, for men to understand what I said, 1 + 1 = 3 and not 2, right? That's the power of the collaboration that we need to drive. The second dimension is connecting the dots, whether it is Garima, what you said, or Kusum, what you said. We have such a fantastic ecosystem already created, which is already doing some great work. So how do you connect the dots so that it's not Bayer alone, it's not Corteva alone, it is not Tata Trust alone. All of us are going together and making this happen collectively with these 3 or 4 key objectives, of which women empowerment is the main element. Now, similar to Corteva, Bayer also has similar goals of empowering the whole world of smallholder farming. And we truly believe a lot of the learnings from India can be transferred to Africa or Africa to India, because that's the only way you learn. It's not just within India that we say we learned everything and move on. Bring in some of the global learnings and knowledge. And the whole concept of Better Life farming is, to a large extent, is an open platform which brings all the partners together. Tomorrow, very clearly, we see the opportunity to have Corteva as part of our ecosystem. And similarly, us partnering with Corteva and other companies in driving the whole initiative. Because at the end of the day, keep in mind, this is not a CSR initiative. That should be the key understanding. There's a huge business opportunity empowering farmers, empowering women farmers to create an absolutely outstanding value for everybody. And that's where, whether it's corporates or whether it is a number of other stakeholders, can have significant growth opportunities for the businesses themselves. So my last point in this is, as we look at taking this forward, we have to start driving towards scalability of the models that are already there, improving the models that are already there. We don't have to go back to zero base. There's enough thought leadership that exists today. There's enough money that is existing today with all the programs of companies, government, etc. All you need to do is connect the dots, go at it with a singular vision with 2 or 3 key initiatives: knowledge, capacity building, financial access. Clearly, the issues of land holding will take a lot of time to solve, but that shouldn't stop us from moving ahead in this direction, because we can create an ecosystem that drives the change fairly rapidly. So I'm really excited about this, because there's significant thought leadership and ideas that are coming together. We just need to sit down and then own it collectively as a group and start moving ahead. So over to you, Priya.
Thanks, Dee. So we have a comment over here that says, I think if corporates take the responsibility and make sure they have 20 to 50 women distributors or dealers every year, they should educate them. So Aruna, this is for you and Dee.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, so this is something which my team comes up, several of these ideas in terms of how can we have those hotspots, or how can we create those hotspots in particularly wherever we have women Pravakta programs going on, right? So in terms of how can we create those channel partners where, see, for example, in Vietnam, I used to find it very difficult to find a male channel partner. I mean, Thailand and Vietnam is 90% women. So we needed diversity there in terms of, men, bringing in men from a channel partnership perspective. So it's an excellent idea, maybe worth exploring in terms of how can we, and then to Dee's point, right, the financial literacy, also hand-holding the channel partners in terms of some of the financial commitments that they have, because it cannot come on their own, and how can we collaborate with them to make them successful. I think that's a fantastic idea, worth exploring. Thank you.
A great point, Aruna. I'll ask Kalyani. You just graduated 4 years ago. What percentage of your class were women?
Sir, percentage ratio was 25 students in a class, in which there are 8 girls and rest are boys.
Yes, so almost 40%, right? So imagine the power of, and in number of cases is almost 50%, especially as you look at science-based education. So clearly, going back to Priya, the question, we have to collectively work towards pulling this ecosystem so that we make it gender smart and make it simpler. We have an equal representation women across the whole value chain: farming, distribution, retail, logistics, across the board. I don't think there's any one single area where we cannot have women play a role standing right in the front with women. So, and I think that's a challenge. We all need to sign up together and move ahead.
Yes,
Thanks, Dee. This is a question to Jyoti. The issue is more a social one, an issue with economic structures of the country. What are the 3 policy level interventions that we can recommend to the government to expedite this process of transformation?
The first policy level, initiative is towards education. I think it's very important that you have quality education, and the other is definitely, it's when you have policies for farming, you must include in them access to land ownership. I think that is so critical for for women. There should be a way in which the government policies have initiate a kind of move, and a way that we can include women in land ownership and access to resources. There has to be the ease of access to resources has to be initiated from the government. And because, for example, we're all talking about market, we're all talking about finance, we're all talking about, and in all of these areas, the government is so present, whether it's banking, whether it's, the market, the wholesale market, the mandi, for example. So I think it's important that we ease up that channel. The third, and a very important pillar, I think, is the fact that the local government policies where local governance is concerned have to be very, very, have to be strengthened, because at the moment of crisis, at the moment of a drought, at the moment of a flood, and where is the presence of the government? So I think that is very, very important. And for that, you can have public-private partnerships. I think nothing is stopping us in any of these fields to initiate a public-private partnership. And I would go one step ahead and say healthcare. And that is the fourth pillar, because if you don't have a healthy farmer, if you don't have a nourished, farmer, well, how are we going to do it? And the fifth is environment. I mean, that's the fifth pillar. If you talk about sustainable incomes, we have to sustain them in a holistic way. So that's my...
No, Jyoti, if I can respond to great points. I'll pick on the first one on education. And I would say we need to focus it at 2 levels, right? One is basic education itself. The other one is vocational training. And today with digitization, there's a significant opportunity to accelerate this without waiting for any formal structures to be created. So we're creating that ecosystem, which Aruna was saying, which is much more at a grassroots level for capacity building with digital, obviously starting with some bit of initial kickoff would go a great way to accelerate what you just said, Jyoti.
Yeah, I completely agree, because I feel that when IFC is working with clients, we're constantly looking for a pool of women from the village. And why are we going outside the village? I mean, there's so much unemployment and there's so much potential. We're losing that pool of people there, and that's why, to your point,
Okay, this is a question for Garima. Yeah, Garima, what are the biggest challenges, according to you, if addressed, women can change their standard of living completely by farming?
So repeat again. What are the challenges?
Yeah, what are the biggest challenges, if addressed, women can completely change their standard of living in farming? So what are the top 1 or 2 things, if we address, that we will be able to change the standard of living for women?
Yeah. So as we see in the Jharkhand, the biggest challenges they are facing is the issues of the health. In Jharkhand, I'm seeing that the issues of the health, and also health, as well as there is a lack of transportation and communication of women to the cities as well as in the semi-urban areas also. So I have seen that they are facing a lot of struggle in the Jharkhand in the communication or transportation as well as the health issues. We can address them. They will definitely, the scenario will change for the women.
थैंक यू. कल्याणी, ये आपके लिए है प्रश्न. कस्टमर जब लेडीज होती है तो क्या अलग लगता है कंपेयर करें जेंट्स कस्टमर के साथ?
यस मैम. बेसिकली जैसे कि जब भी मेल मेंबर्स आते हैं सेंटर पे तो वो लोग डायरेक्टली नेम बोल देते हैं कि ये चाहिए हमको, क्योंकि वो लोग पहले से नॉलेजेबल रहता है, तो वो बोल देते हैं हमको ये दवा चाहिए, मैं दे देती हूँ, ठीक है. बट जो फीमेल मेंबर्स आती हैं वो सारा सिम्टम सब कुछ बोलती है मेरे को कि ये हो रहा है, पीला हो रहा है, कीड़ा ये क्या, मतलब सारा चीज वो लोग 10 मिनट तक एक्सप्लेन करेंगे हमको, तब मैं सोचूंगी कि हाँ ये देना चाहिए. तो मेरे लिए भी नॉलेजेबल हो जाता है और उनके लिए भी नॉलेजेबल हो जाता है कि अगर ये लगा तो ये, मतलब वो कन्वर्सेशन बहुत अच्छा होता है कि वो लोग सारा चीज बोलती है हमको आके कि ये हो रहा है. बट मेल मेंबर्स बस डायरेक्टली नेम बोलते हैं कि ये दवा चाहिए, बस यही होता है. यही इंटरेक्ट करने में और हमको अच्छा लगता है कि वो लोग आती हैं और अच्छा बात बोल देती है, हमको फील्ड में यही इशू हो रहा है.
थैंक यू कल्याणी. एंड फाइनली
मैम और एक बात है, जैसे इससे पहले आप गरिमा मैम से जो पूछे थे उसका मैं थोड़ा सा पॉइंट हिंट करना चाहूंगी. जैसे कि चैलेंजेस जो है वुमेन्स के ऊपर, वो एक प्रायोरिटी ये भी है कि वो लोग का जो फैमिली सपोर्ट है ना, ये थोड़ा सा कम मिलता है गर्ल्स को एज कम्पेयर टू मेल मेंबर्स. फैमिली जैसे अगर बेसिकली बोल जाए तो अगर बॉयज बोलेगा कि आई वांट टू बी एंटरप्रेन्योर, तो वो लोग के लिए बहुत हैप्पीनेस रहता है कि हाँ वो बिजनेस करना चाहता है. बट गर्ल्स के लिए वो उतना ज्यादा एक्साइटमेंट नहीं रहता है. ये मेन पॉइंट है जो कि बहुत ज्यादा एम्बैरेसिंग करता है लड़की को कि हम क्यों नहीं कर सकते, सब तो है, इक्वल एफर्ट सब चीज कर रहे, पढ़ सकते हैं, फिर बिजनेस क्यों नहीं कर सकते. तो वो सपोर्ट नहीं मिलता, तो कहीं ना कहीं
फैमिली सपोर्ट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट.
हाँ, पर बहुत ज्यादा डिसअपॉइंट होते हैं, कभी भी फील्ड में निकलते हैं काम के लिए तो वो एनर्जी नहीं आता है. अगर फैमिली सपोर्ट रहेगा तो बहुत पोटेंशियल एक्स्ट्रा होता है किसी के लिए भी. फिर और एक चीज होता है कि जो लैंड ओनरशिप है वो तो मेल मेंबर का ही है, तो लोन के लिए भी बात करो तो उसमें भी प्रॉब्लम हो जाता है कि आखिर लोन मतलब फाइनेंशियली क्या सपोर्ट कैसे करें. घर से पैसा मिलेगा नहीं विथ फुल सपोर्ट, गुस्सा में मिलेगा जो जैसे भी बोले, बट पूरा सपोर्ट नहीं मिलता है. फिर और एक मेन रीजन यहाँ पे आता है कि सोसाइटी जब भी आप फीमेल मेंबर्स फील्ड में जाती है, काम करती है, तो वो लोग को होता है कि ये नहीं कर पाएगी. फर्स्टली पॉइंट यहाँ पे माइंड में यही चलता है, मेंटली प्रिपेयर है वुमेन के लिए कि वो नहीं कर पाएंगे. लेकिन मेल मेंबर्स वही करने जाएंगे तो वो ठीक है कि वो कर लेगा. क्यों पॉजिटिविटी क्यों, और हमारे लिए नेगेटिव. तो ये बहुत एम्बैरेसिंग करता है हम लोग के लिए, जो हम लोग फील्ड में फील करते हैं बहुत ज्यादा. जब हम लोग फील्ड में विजिट करने जाते हैं तो स्कूटी से ड्राइव करके जाते हैं तो फीमेल मेंबर्स नहीं कर पाएंगे क्योंकि वो दूर जाना है, और मेल कर सकते हैं. ये सारा चीज मुझे लगता है कि थोड़ा सा होता है फील्ड में.
Yes.
Thank you, Kalyani. Very well.
I will add to the Kalyani that male member को जितना बाहर में exposure रहता है, female are not getting that exposure.
Correct.
So that needed much.
And in the interest of time, one final question, Kusum, maybe you can answer this. They say globally, women farmers only receive 5% of extension services. Women only make up 50% of ag extension officers. How should stakeholders work with the government to address the significant gap?
I think as we tried, and that is something, the solution which we feel it is very effective. So the community institutions can be developed who can fill up this gap. And secondly, the institutions which can act as a last mile delivery centers, so that because government's extension services, wherever they are there, again it is a access to extension services also again is a gap, and therefore it has to be doorstep, has to be at the village level, because women are not traveling to the even extension services if it is far away from their residence. So therefore it is very much essential to have community institution. For example, Mavim has developed a community managed resource centers, which is a SAG federations, and there running the agriculture centers, they are running custom hiring centers, they are giving advices, passing on the advisories. Whatever the issues are there, women farmer can come to the CMRC and ask the questions, get the information, get the technical know-how. So these are the same institutions which is by the people for the people. So such type of institution building, community institutions are very, very important area who can really fill this gap, I think. Thank you.
Thank you. In the interest of time, we're past 11:15. So I thank everybody for this really insightful, exciting discussion. This is just the beginning. Look forward to collaborating together, industry, government, semi-government agencies to take this agenda forward. And I just read a quote which said that if you teach a woman farming, the entire community will eat. I hope that when we teach our Indian women farmers, whole of India will eat. Thank you very much for a very engaging discussion, and thank you again, both audience as well as our panelists, for being here. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.